What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. It's the end of the week. I hope you're having a great day. As you can see, my setup is a little different. I'm in Philadelphia for a friend's bachelor party, but you don't care about that, do you? Anyways, you can let me know if I'm a little too loud or a little too quiet, and I can adjust some settings from there. But anyways, welcome to the Verified AMA. I'm Lawton Ho, your host, and I go live every single day. The markets are open from 12:30 to 1:15. How's everybody doing today? While you're here, I would just like to say thank you so much for being here. Please consider following us on our socials, subscribing to us on the Verified Investing YouTube channel. And the way this works, guys, is of course you ask questions and I give answers. You can always ask questions by scanning this QR code down below or visiting the verifiedinvesting.com homepage to ask your questions. Excuse me. With that being said, guys, what do you have for me? And let me share my. Hold on. Share my window. Let's do this one. Window. Share this window. Okay, we should be good. If everything has worked out well, we good? Again, I apologize for the different setup here. All right, we're gonna go full screen mode. All right. Anyways, please please let me know what questions you guys have. Let me check out this chat. Okay, questions are starting to come in. Wow. Okay. Uh, Mike says if we do go down markets over the next week, what levels would you expect Cat, RCL, and Microsoft get to before buying, expecting a bounce? All right. What I'm going to do really quick, guys, and I hope you guys don't mind, I'm going to pull up my questions on my phone just so this is a little bit easier. Chat, log in. Let's see if we can get in there. All right, we're good. All good. All right, Mike is asking about if we get down over the next week, what levels would you expect for CAT, RCL, and Microsoft before buying? You're talking about the next week? Yeah, Mike, that doesn't give me a whole lot of time on these stocks. For me on Caterpillar, if Caterpillar came down, I'd expect to bounce somewhere around here, around 394.41. This would be the level I'd anticipate a bounce on Caterpillar if you're talking about literally the next week, right? Over the next week, not even. Let's see what else you said. You also said RCL in the next week. Yeah, a week is a very specific time frame, and I'm happy to answer that. You had this beautiful inverse head and shoulders, had a nice move up off of that break. Talking about a move around 10%. So a retrace to this kind of head and shoulders, 5% lower at around 332. Pierce to 332 would be that level you'd expect to bounce on RCL, somewhere around there. Um, Excuse me, that was this level. The inverse head and shoulders was here. A retrace to this break of this high pivot here around 332. You expect a potential bounce there. The last one you said was Microsoft for the next week. And I'm talking about mostly day trades. So Microsoft is long overdue for a pullback and a correction coming down 1.6. I think realistically, if the markets fell significantly, 472 could be a realistic level where Microsoft would come to and potentially see a bounce. It just filled this gap today. Well, it filled it rather on Tuesday and then again today. So those are levels that I'm expecting potential bounce there. Nathan says, "Good morning, Lauren. Are we still bullish on stocks?" Yes, absolutely, 100%. I am bullish on stocks. Let's go to the watch list. You can see that even though stocks is down slightly today, stocks is down about 8 cents, not too bad. That's with AVGO having good earnings, right? Up 10%. SMCI is down. Um, Nvidia down 3%, AMD down 6%. Still bullish on stocks, 100%, absolutely. Let's see. What do the charts say about H bar? Absolutely. Let's take a look at H bar. Charts say H bar is having a decent pullback, but um, you do have some sort of downward, sideways consolidation. Have these trend lines, and look where it bounced off of. It bounced right off of that trend line there. Pulled back, excuse me. If H bar can get above this, I expect another leg higher. But if we go to my watch list, the majority of crypto is down today. Was down yesterday, but is getting a little bounce as Bitcoin is flat, right? So some of these alts are moving higher, right? Does that mean we're here? We're in here for alt season? Only time will tell. Abdul says, "What is your outlook for WRD?" A little louder, please. Okay, give me 1 second. I apologize for that. All right, I made myself a bit louder. Hopefully, this is a little bit better. Sorry about that, Brent. Let me see. Hopefully, this is a little better. Let's go to WRD. We Ride. We Ride is smaller company. Definitely a smaller company. Yeah, all good, Brent. A little bit of a smaller company, but it moves kind of like a meme stock, right? Moves kind of like a meme stock. But I have this beautiful kind of wedge forming on We Ride. You have this kind of wedge starting to form. I'll draw this a little closer. Draw something like this. You can draw something like this. And then you can see a tight little wedge forming, right? A couple trend lines there. I usually like to draw them through the pivots, but I'll draw them through the bodies on both sides in this case. Just to demonstrate, you can see a clear kind of pattern beginning to form on We Ride. Now, if We Ride, you know, like it doesn't look that great, but you do have a head and shoulders pattern on We Ride, right? You do have that potential head and shoulders pattern on We Ride. And as we know, it's bearish for the stock, right? That would be a measured move down like $3, right? So you're talking like 40%, 45%, right? But I'm expecting We Ride to. It's hard for me to kind of guess. I don't know. It's hard for me to tell you exactly what We Ride is gonna do. I think that We Ride, even though it has a head and shoulders pattern, it definitely favors, you could say, a move higher, right? Just because of how low it is on the charts. It's near the lows of the charts. It fell significantly over recent time, but it is breaking this, trying to break this upsloping trend line. So that is bearish. So I'm gonna flip and say bearish. If you can close below this and come down, I think we're headed towards this gap fill around 12% lower. I flip-flopped. I'm locking it in there. Locking it in on We Ride. What else do you guys have for me? Keaton says, "Hi, Lon. Do you see today as another down day, which may not reverse the Q's uptrend?" Yeah, it's a Friday. Fridays are kind of like not the best. I don't love it the most, but look at this. Look at that. Look at this beautiful trend line. And where's the Qs pulling back? They opened up to that trend line and pulled back. That is the line in the sand in on the Qs. That's why I believe it pulled back. Would not surprise me if we fell another 1 or 2% over the next week or so. But in order to really confirm a reversal in, kind of Qs, I really need to see I would like to see a break of this trend line, and I want it to come down here to around 531. Then I'll believe it. John says good morning slash afternoon. What's up, John? For PALL, yep. Are we seeing a pullback to the scene of the crime? 98.90. Oh, for this trend line. Yeah, and you see that my chart is kind of insane. Yeah, you did break above this downsloping trend line here. You did come back to it, pulled back to it yesterday, bounced a little. Same thing with today, tried to pierce below it, filled that gap at 101.26. For me, yeah, the support is down here around 97.70. You have that beautiful gap fill, and then you have a pivot low over here on $98.43. Uh, Elvis says, "Hi, Lawton. What's up, Elvis? Where would you short W? W Wayfair. Where would I short this? All right, let's see. It's gone. It's at the lows of its charts, but it has gone straight up 300%. It would have to be this pivot high over here around $90.42. That's the level. That's the line in the sand for resistance on Wayfair. That's where I would potentially short it. $90.42. Lock it in. That's my level. You're even gonna create an alert there, just so I know. All right, what else do we have? John says, "Do you use slows, the chases D line, K line for analysis?" No, I have not used that before, John, but I'm always open to learning new things. Right. Let's take a Doge. Alexander wants to look at Doge. For me in Doge, yeah, I have this beautiful head and shoulders pattern that it's finally kind of breaking down from. I think this is bearish. I'd expect a move at least 10% lower to around 188. Finally breaking down from this. It keeps hammering back on that neckline, right? But I want to see a clean close here and another close lower, and then we'll come down 10% at least. He says, any new analysis on Ethereum Classic? Yeah, for me, Ethereum Classic is not doing a whole lot, right? You had these couple of these upsloping trend lines that it did finally break, right? This is the one I'm targeting. Let's delete this. Let's get this out of here, and let's get this guy out of here. Look at this trend line. Pivot, pivot, all through here. And this is where price is concentrated around. Came back, unable to break back above that upsloping trend line. So what does that mean? That means that Ethereum Classic, I'm expecting a lower move once it closes below, and then we have confirmation. I'm expecting a move down around 5 to 10% at least. Jimmy says, can you look at Litecoin? I'd be happy to. Litecoin, beautiful head and shoulders pattern. However you want to draw it. Let's go like this. Let's go like this. Shoulder, head, shoulder, down. Let's see if it retraces. If it does retrace, that's where I'd short it. Approximately 119, 120 would be that area for a short. But this down move, sideways consolidation, could be bearish, could be signaling a move lower, particularly if crypto gets a pullback. I'd be targeting an 8% move to at least 102, 103. See what else we got. Wes says, thoughts on Google for a short? I'm in GGLS currently. Okay, yeah, Google. Yeah, Google is definitely shortable. It's hard for me to find levels because this thing is straight vertical pretty much. Um, I like a short on Google. I like it. For me, my max upside for Google is like 250, right? That's like the max it's gonna go up for me. 6% higher, but you can always dollar cost average as it goes against you. Excuse me. Brent says GDX short a 66.9G. GDX. Yeah, GDX is kind of crazy, right? Um, the miners have been going off. Um, Here's the thing, right, with shorting the miners. If you expect the markets to pull back, like we do, like you do, like everybody does, um, you're expecting gold to continue to push higher. Yes, gold is at all time highs. Yes, the markets are all time highs. But when the markets start to dip, people rotate into safer things like potentially gold. So for me, like GDX is a riskier short. Right? Yes, there's still miners. Yes, they still report earnings. Um, so you saw with the miners, they fell significantly towards you know the middle towards the end of last year, off of companies like Newmont that had poor earnings, but Newmont is pushing up like crazy. So a short on GDX may not be a bad idea. However, just keep in mind that if gold continues to push up, um, like I believe it may, GDX could, doesn't have to, but could continue to push up. While GDX isn't exactly gold, it's the gold miners, right? So it's basically the same thing. But Chad says, "Hi, mate. What's up, Chad? Hope all is well and you're enjoying the trip. Thank you so much. Look forward to the new show with you, Drew, and Ben later. Yeah, guys, we have a new show later, I believe at 2 o'clock. You're spoiling us all with all this content. Oh, thanks, man. A BHP is currently getting rejected of its downsloping trend line starting December of 2023. Would you say it now looks bearish in the short term, or could we possibly call this consolidation near the trend line? BHP. Um, 2023 trend line. Yeah, small cap. No, not this. Oh yeah, it's this company. BHP. It's Australian company, right? But you said it is getting rejected off the downsloping trend line from 2023, December of 2023. So over here. Okay. I see your trend line. Let's make it happen. Ooh, look at that. Absolute beauty. Yeah, so here's something. Let me turn this into a teachable moment. I hope my computer doesn't explode if I do this. So when you're talking about the third hit of something, in this case BHP, uh, when you have the third hit of a trend line, you're usually expecting a pullback or a bounce, depending on which way. So going into the third hit of a downsloping trend line, you actually expect a pullback. Inversely, if you're coming down into the third hit of an upsloping trend line, you actually favors a bounce. Uh, Subsequent hits actually favor a break. Yeah, it absolutely is. This is wonderful. Would you say that it looks bearish in the short term, or could we call this consolidation near the trend line? Yeah, I actually love this chart. Thank you so much for bringing it up. If it pushes back up again and breaks above it, I'm 100% would consider this a potential buy option. Good company, large cap company, breaking multi-year trend lines. Absolutely, like you can't ask for anything else, right? Can't ask for anything else. So uh, if you can pop above it, then you're likely to see more upside. Someone says, "Do you have any long-term altcoin holdings?" Not personally, no. Justice, sorry, mate. I know you're not a fan of smaller market cap companies. It's all good. I'm usually not a fan either. So more from a learning point of view, would you say that Wiz looks to be bull flagging on the daily? Thanks. Yeah, let's take a look at Wiz. Wizz Air, it's not that small. 1.3 billion. Small, but at least it's not under a billion. Uh, Bull flagging on the daily, yeah, absolutely. This looks bullish to me. Up move, downwards to sideways consolidation. That is very obvious. Bull flag. Additionally, I'm assuming we could potentially draw some trend lines. Let's see what we got here. Have a couple down sloping trend lines. Let's zoom in a bit. See if we can't get a better one. Yeah, again, tons of down sloping trend lines that if they break, favor the move to the upside. And I just realized I gotta charge my phone. John says, "Hi, Lon AVGO hit Garrus level 356 and now is 337. More downside. Is there more downside to AVGO? I mean, it came down almost to 330. Um, all the semis have been pulling back. AVGO is the only semis that I can recall who popped up off of earnings. Maybe AMD, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I expect it. I expect it to pull back. I mean, that's partially why the Sox is down today, because AVGO had such a great day. But yeah, I could see further downside. Absolutely. Chad says, "Thanks for your answers, mate. Please, could you give your opinion on legal in general?" Ticker LGEN seems to be starting a bear flag on the daily. Can we also say price within a wedge pattern going back a few years? Yeah, it is 100% starting a bear flag. This is very premature. I want to see like 7 more candles, 4 more candles, but this does look bearish. Absolutely. Could we say it's forming a wedge? If we go back a couple years, let's see. I have this. This is the I guess the bottom of the wedge. I don't really have a top part of the wedge that I like very much. Yeah, I don't really have anything like that. Jose says, if the war between Venezuela and the U.S. explodes, do you think oil stocks will go up and the rest of the market down? The market doesn't like uncertainty, right? That's why the tariff thing freaking tanked the market so much. However, when war happens, oil prices shoot up, absolutely. But um, the United States and Venezuela fighting will definitely, like, if it's a full blown war, yes, it will cause the markets to pull back, but not as much as if we went to war with China or something like that, right? Chad says, please, could you give your view on Rio's chart? Yeah, let's take a look at Rio. Again, guys, I'm going to be live for the next 20 minutes or so. So, any questions you guys have, make sure to get them in or before you run out of time. Beautiful down sloping trend line here. Uh, Beautiful down sloping trend line there. If it breaks up, I actually love it for a potential trade. You could say this is has some wedge action going on. But yeah, I like this so much. One, two, three. The next time it hits it, kiss it here. The next time it hits it, I expect a push through actually. So keep this on your radar, guys. If Rio gets above this trend line, consider entering on a break or a retrace to that trend line. I actually really like this potential trade. Um, that doesn't mean get in now because it could just chop, 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 chop. And when it breaks here, but you're already 6% out of the money. That's why I always like to wait for these trendline plays to actually work out. In fact, I like this so much, Chad, I'm going to set an alert for myself so I can remember it, so I can potentially trade that. Chad says the daily bars on Campbell's since Wednesday look almost identical. Um, at the moment, Haven't seen that many times before. I'm currently in profit around 4%. Please, could you give your opinion on take profit levels? Yeah, I actually really like Camels. If it breaks up from this down sloping trend line, this could go like 30% easily. I would look to take profits at like $40. I actually love this trade on Camels. Love it, love it, love it. Pat says, would appreciate your thoughts on an entry point long on Venom. Let's see. A long entry on Venom. Um, I'll give you two levels. There's a level here, this pivot low, around 35, 57. And then a gap fill here around 31.68. So approximately 6 to 7% lower and then 14% lower. Those are my two levels for a long. On Venom, John says, be careful shorting anything in gold right now. There are many better setups to short. Yeah, that's what I was saying, John. Yep, that's what I said. That's what I said. Martin says, hey, Lawton. What's up, Martin? What do you think about the consolidation on Dogecoin? Well, I don't think anything of it because I haven't seen it yet. Okay. Dogecoin. Yeah, this looks like it's. Now, this is a wedge. There's also a potential head and shoulders pattern here, right? Not the best one. Let's just get rid of all those drawings. You will not be missed. A couple down sloping trend lines. But if you can consolidate and burst through, I could see a move up maybe 14-ish% on Dogecoin. Let's see what else we got. Nathan says, teachable moment question. My broker has a warning. Socks leveraged inverse products are for daily use only and generally not intended to be a hold overnight. Can you explain this? Well, here's the thing, right? Socks is inverse, but it's also leveraged, right? Leverage, which means like for every 1%, the SOXX, which is what it's based on, moves. This will move 3 times as much. So you have 3 times the gains and 3 times the losses. It just says that so it's more volatile. So that's what it's talking about, Nathan. As far as not holding it overnight, I mean that's why you would some people would not want to hold it overnight just because it could be so volatile. Right? Let's say you buy stocks into Nvidia earnings and Nvidia has amazing earning, goes up 10%, stocks is going to crash, significantly. And you could be out of the money like 15% just like that. But there are no more semiconductor earnings, I believe, after today's AVGO for this earnings season. David says, what is the most tax-friendly platform to short crypto in the US? Tax-friendly, I couldn't give you that information. I don't know, first of all. I haven't compared them. That's something you have to do your own research for, and like taxes and explaining all of that. Those are some things that I don't really feel comfortable answering. Right? The last thing I would want to do is like give you guys bad advice. I can tell you what I do. I use TurboTax. I just give them all my statements. My brokerage, Thinkorswim, gives me like the tax information really easily, so I just give it to them and they handle it. But it's really important, guys, to do your own research. Do your own research because that's not something to mess about. Chad says, it may sound a little sad, but I always feel assured when you consider adding one of the stocks I ask you about to either one of your verified offerings or to your alerts lists. Thanks, mate, for all your insight. Feel like I've asked more questions than usual this show, so I'll give someone else a chance. Catch you on the 2 p.m. Eastern show. Thank you so much, Chad. And I'll see you in an hour. But I love that, right? There are some positions that I literally found because of you guys. So it's not sad at all. That's just a testament to you and how amazing that you've done, that you've grown in your testament to your knowledge and your improvement as a trader, right? That you can give us, help us find setups for potentially other members and things like that. So, not sad at all. And I love your questions, Chad. So, you so much. And I'm going through questions a lot faster today just because my setup is different. So I don't have time to go off on a tangent here or a tangent there. I'm literally just looking at my phone, reading questions, then using this to my one screen to chart. And I don't even know what it looks like. So hopefully it's okay. John says, time to short Tesla yet? Good question. Tesla finally broke up and out of that wedge, retraced to it. Oh man, broke out, came back into it, broke out, retraced to it, and bounced higher. My shortable level on Tesla is 367.66. 367.66 would be the first level I consider shorting, and then again at 392.15, approximately 6 and 13% higher from the current trading levels on Tesla. All right, guys. What other questions do you guys have for me? I am going through these so fast that I'm running out of questions to answer. And I know that you're not running short on questions you want answered, but just throw them all in. Jericho says, "Hey Lawton, check out VFC." Do you see an anatomy pattern with the possibility of a breakout? Not really. That's not really what I see. Just because of this candle here, I don't love it. Adam and Eve is basically a cup and handle, right? And I don't really like it. Like cup and handle, you want to see like this, like almost an inverse head and shoulders, right? Basically an inverse head and shoulders. That's a cup and handle. Adam and Eve is like that with the V in front of it, right? So it's a V, and this is kind of not really like I don't. It's close though. But as far as do I think it's gonna break out and go higher? So the stock is at the lower portion of the chart. But this up move and sideways consolidation is bullish though, right? Whenever you have an up move or any move in sideways consolidation, particularly if it's an up move and downward consolidation, it's bullish. All right, I'm glad I could get that mute in before I sneezed. Martin says that's because you guys have been teaching us. What goes around comes around. Thank you. Yeah, and that's awesome to see, right? Like when we're part of our services and teaching you guys, it's not about okay. We can give you a level, right, and help you guys make money, and of course that's the most important thing to remain profitable. But the second thing that I really value is teaching you guys, not so you know like I we're not gatekeeping anything, right? uh, Almost all the knowledge that we have is freely given to you guys, to anyone who will listen and anyone who wants to take advantage of it, frankly. And we want to create a community of investors who can hold their own, right? We don't want you to be like dumbed down, not ask questions, buy when we buy, sell when we buy, and have reliance on us forever. Would we love for you guys to be part of our paid services forever? Absolutely, 100%. But more than that, we want to teach you to fish for yourself so that we can have better conversations and you can actually help us. It's like, okay, you don't know anything, so we're helping you, bring you, and then want to get you here to where we are. so that we can bounce ideas off each other, collaborate, and when you guys come up with good ideas, not only can we capitalize by making money in our accounts, so can the members, right? That helps us because we can give good setups to other members that could change the way that we might look at a certain stock. So that's the overall goal of what we're doing here at Verified Investing, right? Like you might not talk to me, right? In 40 years from now, who knows? Maybe I'm not alive. Maybe you're not alive. But no matter where you are, right? And this is something that my parents always told me. No matter where you are in life, no matter how old you are, um, one thing that even if you lose everything, one thing that can never be taken away from you is your education, and includes and this is included. It doesn't matter in 30 years from now. These tactics, the things that you're learning right now, is still going to be valid and still potentially valuable if you want to. There's no limitation on trading, right? Um, Warren Buffett, he's super old, still trades. Right? You can trade when you're young or you're old, whether you have a college degree or you're self-taught. It doesn't matter. We're all on the same playing field, and our goal here at Verified Investing is to help you guys um, catch up, and we can take on the institutions together. Right. Anyways, Chad says, "Yeah, the setup is working smoothly. Awesome. That's great." Mar says, any chance you know why the markets turned around today? They fell. I think they're just due for a pullback, right? A bit of a pullback. I mean, it's not that much of a pullback, but the markets are so overextended. We're probably going to end the day like 0.5% down, close to flat. So I'm not, yeah, I don't know. Mar says, Bitcoin and Shoal have conflicting in heads and shoulders. Who do you think wins? I think that they're one. It's not one or the other, right? Um, Head and shoulders on Bitcoin. Bitcoin came down. Um, this is invalidated because of this high. I actually don't see a head and shoulders in Bitcoin, just because this is higher than here. Right? It's close, but it's not there. I actually was bullish on Bitcoin after it broke out of this. If it retraces down here, so I expect a retrace, full retrace, and move down to around 107 on Bitcoin at least. If we can take out this 107 level, there will be further downside closer, somewhere to around 105. However, let's take a look at Solana. Solana, in the opposite way, has a nice kind of, it's trading in this wedge, right? I have this beautiful upsloping kind of wedge. Actually favors a move lower, and you also have some other upsloping trend lines through here. I think this falls, and my target for Solana is around 175. John says BMNR, or downside or average down, long-term investment. For me, I would probably pick some up around $10 lower, to be honest, around $30.26. It does favor a bounce, but long term, that's where I'd be a buyer around $30. Alex says, "Hi Lon, hope you're getting better soon." Yeah, I feel better. I just have some allergies. Lulu's getting to a good buy level for averaging down today. Yeah, Lululemon is down off of earnings again. I love these levels. I actually love this level for Lululemon. Um, I'm gonna probably pick some up today or in the next week or so if it comes down to like 160. I'll pick some up. Also, C3 AI. Yeah, AI also had earnings, fell decently. If it comes back good, comes down to around $13, that's where I'm a buyer for the longer term. Riedel says, what would be a good entry level now for reentry? Short JPM. Uh, Reshort. I would wait for a Pierce of 305. Taylor says, was good with it. What's up, Taylor? I'm in Philly. Um, Taylor says, oh, wow, that's embarrassing. Didn't mean to send it yet. It's all good. I know that GDX and SIL look extremely extended, but I have big parallels on them that show considerably more short-term and long-term upside. Is there somewhere I can send screenshots? Yeah, you can send screenshots by clicking this camera over here and then clicking on copy link. You copy that link and send it in the chat. But I said this earlier. Someone asked me if we should short GDX. I said it wouldn't make sense that you want to short GDX, right? Because it's so overextended. That chart looks insane. However, the only problem with shorting gold is that if you believe that the stock market is overvalued, which it 100% is, due for a correction, um, if it pulls back, right, the stock market does pull back, um, gold is going to continue going up because people will rotate their money out of the stock market and potentially into gold, causing GDX to have more upside and gold to have more upside in the short term and long term. I know that is not TA at all, but that's just using our noggins, right? And every once in a while, we got to veer away from our imaginary lines and use some common sense. Martin says, does it look like does it look to you like the SPX is starting to trade sideways? Not yet. It's still in this kind of like uptrend, right? Had this nice upsloping trend line, broke below, but still fought to be back in. It tested it again and bounced off of that level today. Um, I actually think it looks like it's ready to potentially curl over, but we'll see. Mar says, handle your cold, buddy. Are you allergic? Yeah, it's just allergies because I'm in this Airbnb for my friend's bachelor party, and it's yeah, Airbnb is kind of shady, but it's all good. It is what it is. We take those. All right, let me see this. Taylor sent me a chart. Let me take a look at it. Silver and GDX. Let me see. See if I can open this up. All right, I see that first one. Let me see that. I saw the second one. Let me see that first one. Mar says, in that case, have a blast on that party. I love parties. Yeah, me too. Let's see that GDX one. That's a good one on. That's a good one on GDX Taylor. Yeah, that's why I'm like gonna. That's why I always caution about potentially staying away from shorting gold at this time. But it is at all-time highs. Does favor a pullback. So who knows? Maybe gold pulls back before the markets do. Right. With that being said, guys, that's it for me. If you like this content, please consider liking us, subscribing to us on the Verified Investing YouTube channel. If you have any more questions, guys, my name again is Lawton Ho here with Verified Investing. Oh man, I went blurry for a second. Sorry about that, guys. All right, we're back. Brisky says, great community. Thanks and God bless you all. Thank you so much. If you have any more questions, you can always send them to me on Twitter at Lawton Investing. All right, at Lawton Investing. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And we're gonna go live in literally 45 minutes for another Q&A, with myself, Drew, and Benjamin Poole. So I hope to see you all there. Have a great rest of your day. If you have questions, send them to me on Twitter at Lawton Investing. Have a great day, guys. Take it easy. Bye-bye.